Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
Animal chiropractic is the most amazing tool there is. It's better than any graphic design tool. It's better than any tool in the workshop. It is the most amazing tool that any animal can have used on them. It improves the immune system by 400%. So it helps with vaccination. It helps with bacterial infections, viruses. It just helps the animal feel better and do better. It changes every background activity that's going on in the back of your animal's brain, which includes, things like heartbeat, digestion, respiration, all of those exciting things that are going to happen. That's what happens in a well-adjusted animal. It's not just about movement and musculoskeletal problems. Yeah, it helps with that. But those are handles to the nervous system. Those are symptoms that says, hey, something's going on with your animal. 99% of your animal's nervous system is not worried about pain, all right? 99% of your animal's nervous system is about feedback. It's about staying healthy. It's about protecting itself. It's about evolutionary things like finding food, preventing us from being food. All those important things that happen every day in the background work better when your animal is chiropractically adjusted. That's what animal chiropractic is about. Have a great day.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com, where you can subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing.
Helping others experience an abundant life with the gift, art, and blessing that is animal chiropractic is our sole mission at All Creatures Every Spine. It's what we do. It's what we love. It truly is what keeps us motivated to help people just like you. I truly love the art of chiropractic. It drives me to provide the highest level of chiropractic possible. And as fellow chiropractic business owners, it's that love that drives us to become better. However, the reality is that sometimes running a successful business can be challenging. Sometimes there can be obstacles to overcome. We all know the old saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it. Well, one thing that is really easy is marketing our clinic with a professional animal chiropractic website by the Chiro Website Pro, Tony Seymour. He's a professional web designer, and his team at Chiro Website Pro take good care of us. They simply make marketing our practice 100% hassle-free. If you're looking for the #1 hands-free way to market your practice, give the Chiro Website Pro a call at 423-779-4630 or simply visit www.chirowebsitepro.com and make sure you ask them about the special ACES discount and let them know Dr. Amy and Dr. O sent you. You'll be glad.
Standard Process is a third-generation family-owned company in rural Wisconsin. You could say we just make nutritional supplements, but we know we're changing lives. We grow ingredients on our own certified organic farm without pesticides or herbicides because we think they should be as close to nature as possible. Quality is our priority. That's why we do everything right here, from hand-picking the seeds to delivery, so you know exactly what goes into every bottle.
Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. Special thanks goes to the team for making this thing look so awesome. And today's guest for taking time out of her day and spending with us just talking about animal chiropractic, which is always a fun topic. I love it. Dr. Diab, why don't you tell us a little bit about your practice?
Sure. So I own a chiropractic and nutritionally focused veterinary practice in Colorado Springs, and I've owned it for about 5 years or so, and started out with acupuncture, but now I mostly do chiropractic and nutritional therapy. So dogs, cats, and occasionally a random horse that creeps in, but mostly dogs and cats.
Cool. How has it changed? I mean, obviously, I just heard a little bit in there, but how has animal chiropractic affected your practice and your life?
Yeah, so I would say that when I first started my practice, I was mostly doing acupuncture, and that was helpful. It was kind of dipping my toe into the alternative side of things. So I definitely am very grateful for the acupuncture training. But it was a lot of time spent with the patient, because you got to put the needles in, you got to sit there, so 20 or 30 minutes for each appointment. And then it usually took at least, anywhere from 3 to 9 treatments before we would start to see some response in a lot of these patients. And so when I got my chiropractic certification and started doing more chiropractic, what I found was a couple things. One, I didn't need acupuncture very much. So, I would say, hey, let's try chiropractic first. And then if we need to bring in acupuncture, we can. And 98% of the time, we never had to bring in acupuncture. And so that helped, that was good for the client as far as budget wise, and good for me because chiropractic didn't take as long and doesn't have any overhead. So, and that meant too that the patients were getting better. And usually we would see response much quicker as well, usually maybe within 1 to 3 treatments. And so I had patients getting better faster. I could see more patients because I see 10-minute chiropractic appointments versus 20 to 40 minutes for an acupuncture. And then they would bring them in more consistently because they could afford it, and it was helping their pet faster and all that kind of stuff. So I would say bottom line, I'm able to help more patients in the same amount of time, which is really beneficial for my family life because I definitely have a cap on how many hours I want to work per week because I have 3 little kids at home. So I really want to be a mom as well. So it's just been great from all those aspects.
Yeah. You don't want to have the kids tethered to you while you stick needles in them.
Yeah, it'd be a little challenging. I have seen some vets do that, like they're doing surgery with their babies strapped on their back, and I don't know how they do it, but yeah, you do what you got to do. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So, cool. Well, that's kind of neat. So it's increased your profitability, and changed your family life, and. So what's your biggest win, the one that you were like, that sticks out, that like, oh my gosh, I can't believe chiropractic, that we helped that animal?
Oh man, the most recent one is this dog named Athena that I'm still treating. And she is not very old. I think she's 4 or 6 years old, but she came in, she just itches all the time. And she also was having some hind limb weakness. They were collapsing on her, and then really scared of storms. And those were all newer things that have come up. So we have been doing weekly adjustments on her. And within the first 2 or 3 adjustments, the owner noticed that she wasn't collapsing on the hind legs anymore. Continued adjustments, and just her energy has gotten better and better. She's starting to carry her hind end more normally instead of having that stilted, wooden leg gait in the back. She actually has that angle at the knee. So she's starting to carry those back legs a little bit better. And then the owner just told me this past week that she handled the thunderstorms that we just had perfectly calm, perfectly fine. And that was such a big win for the owner too. So that's probably the biggest one recently that we've had.
And how's the itching?
It's getting a little better. We're doing a lot of other stuff with her to try to help with that as well. But she did say that the coat seems to be getting softer and the paws are looking better. They're not nearly as red and inflamed. But I told the owner, the skin is that outermost, level of the animal. So it's probably going to be one of the last things to respond. But I think maybe we're starting to get some traction there.
Good. Yeah, I would agree that, people, and that's one of the differences between chiropractic and traditional veterinary medicine is that some of these deep chronic issues, like, I see over your right shoulder, anyway, these sometimes they don't get better right away. But don't you agree that sometimes that maybe is in the owner's perspective and they're still seeing symptoms, but that the animal is getting better?
Yeah, and I think that's why the Show Me Chiropractic is so helpful with those patients and those owners, is you can do some things like we rechecked her conscious proprioception, after a couple adjustments, and her lateral range of motion, and even seeing the whole body shake. Maybe at the first adjustment, the owner doesn't really, they're like, oh, I've never noticed if my dog has shaken, nose to tail before. But after that first one they do, and they'll come in and tell you, yeah, they're shaking nose to tail and it's great. So once you kind of show them those things to kind of keep an eye on and show them some things during the adjustment, then it helps them, kind of appreciate where we're seeing the positive change, and they're willing to hang in there for kind of that deeper healing.
Yeah, cool. A lot of people come in. I don't know. We try to tell them here, you got to give us at least 3 visits.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I try to tell them too.
So that the body can express some healing.
Yep. For sure.
I've been. It's just like I did something really stupid last week. I was trimming a horse foot, and she wanted to lay down, and I didn't want her to. she won and I lost. And then I couldn't walk.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
And I went to the chiropractor, and that first night it took him, I mean, it hurt, but he got me to move again and it felt better. All right. But it probably took him 5 minutes just to get that one joint to move correctly. It was my sacral base, and to get it to move correctly. And the next day, guess what? It was out again. So, oh man, I'm not getting any better, right? And I went in and he goes, boop, okay, you're good to go. And I was like, so I was getting better, even though the pain level, when I went in both times was equal, but the amount of effort it took to get rid of the pain level was a whole lot different. And so sometimes that I think that the universe tells me I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing enough. So here, boom, you can have one.
Right. Yeah, I have clients who will watch me adjust and they'll be like, oh, it looks like you adjusted a lot more today. And I was like, well, it's not really about how many adjustments I do, it's how easy they are to do. And,
right.
And if they just kind of fall back into place, no worries if I did a couple extra things today. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes, you can do the first couple visits, you don't want to do too much.
Exactly.
Because we can overwhelm the system. And some of these animals that haven't been moving correctly for a long time, and we don't necessarily know, but just because the owner just saw it start yesterday or the day before, doesn't always mean that's when it started.
Right.
You mentioned the symmetry and stuff earlier on, how you're doing some of that, and it takes a while to get some significant asymmetry that we sometimes see in these animals, and you and I both know it just happened.
Right. Yeah. And that's why every new client, even if they come in for just the nutritional part, we measure their hind legs and we see if they're symmetrical or not. And then if they're not, we're able to have that conversation with the owner, like, hey, you might think they're moving okay, or this knee thing just started yesterday, but they're an inch, their left thigh is an inch smaller than their right thigh. So this has probably been going on for a few months. And that really helps them to kind of quantify what you're doing and what you're recommending.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients say, well, I just don't really know, and then they, oh, well, we had one that was like 4 years ago, jumped out of a moving pickup, laid around for 3 days, then seemed to be okay. Do you think that could have been the issue?
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
He wasn't. He hasn't been yelping the last 4 years, so that couldn't be it.
Yeah, he just started yelping the other day.
Right.
So, but we see these compounded things that happen, and I think that's one of the things that chiropractic helps us look at sometimes. Whereas, as we're both trained as traditional veterinarians, and sometimes in vet school we learned to look at the left ear because that's all that's bothering.
Right. Exactly. Compartmentalized medicine.
Yeah.
That reductionism.
Yeah, and in your practice, that probably means a change in diet, a chiropractic adjustment.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe some lifestyle change, like all the things.
Yeah. So, which reminds me on lifestyle change. Keep an eye out for the new book.
Okay.
Dr. Amy's got one coming out. But the first book was, yes, it's really a thing, Animal Chiropractic. And my second book is It's a Better Thing, a chiropractic lifestyle for your dog.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so it's going to look at food and exercise and target exercise. Of course, have some chiropractic in it, but really just talk about a healthy nervous system, how we usually are the problem for our pets, you know.
Yep.
And it's amazing how long these animals can live when we treat them correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
I had a client that we were talking to the other day, and she said, "I got a bone to pick with you, Doc." I'm like, "Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good, right?" So she said, "You know, I never used to have more than 4 or 5 dogs, and now I have 8 or 9."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "How's that? I mean, okay, how's that my problem?" She said, "Well, so I always have 1 or 2 dogs in training because I want to be." She's world class agility, all right?
Okay.
So she's gotta have those dogs up there competing at a high level. So she's always got 1 or 2 young dogs in training. She's always got 1 or 2 dogs that she's competing with. Okay. Well, now she's got a couple dogs that are still competing in their seniors, which isn't good to be world class. So now she's competing with 4 dogs instead of 2. And then she's always had a retired dog or 2, right? Well, now those retired dogs don't die.
Right.
They stick around. So now she said the average life expectancy of her dogs have gone from 12 to 17.
Wow, that's amazing.
And she's had dogs for over 50 years. She got her first dog when she was like 5, so she's had dogs for 50 years, and she's been using us, okay, for a little over 20 years.
Wow.
So anyway, she's
That's like one of those long-term studies.
Yeah.
Multiple life.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, okay, you can have that bone to pick with me. I don't.
Right. I'll keep that one. That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you can be mad at me. Yeah. Yeah. She says, because I mean, we all hate. That's one of the things that hurts the most about owning a dog or a pet is, you know, when it is time to say goodbye. And I think chiropractic is not only about extending that life, but quality of life.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's, you know, it's a higher quality if they're not on drugs, they're not, you know, just laying around. They're getting, you know, interacting, and they're doing a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's one thing that you wish every client in your neck of the woods knew?
I wish that all my clients, or any client in my neck of the woods, understood the importance of doing chiropractic when your pet is still healthy or apparently healthy. I wrote a newsletter about this a couple weeks ago where it's, you know, so I have 3 kids, right? And what we do on the first 2 years of their life is we deposit a huge chunk of money for each of them in their 529 college savings account. And we do that for the first 2 years of their life, and then we're done. And we let that money grow, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. So similar to that, like, you need to make deposits into your pet's health account so that when a big expense comes along, for my kids, maybe college or trade school, but for your pet, it could be a big surgery, could be trauma, could be exposure to something, whether that's chemicals or toxins or medication or whatever. They come up against that. They now have this big chunk of health savings because they've had this regular chiropractic care that's kept their nervous system just optimally healthy, where they can fight back against that, and it's not a big deal. And maybe you never even notice that something is off with them because they have this built up vitality, you know. And so I would love it if clients would put their put their time and their money in getting regular chiropractic adjustments for their pets rather than waiting until a crisis happens and then dumping a bunch of money on Band-Aid medicine just to make their pet, feel a little better for a little bit. And then trying to play catch up with those guys if then they come in to see me. Now we're doing adjustments twice a week and we got to do all this nutritional stuff and all these herbs and blah, blah, blah. If we just done chiropractic routinely that whole time, probably wouldn't need a lot of that stuff.
You bet. I've been doing it a little bit, a couple more years than you have.
Just a couple, yeah.
Just a couple. And we're starting to see some of these people have their, second, third pets with us now. And that is one thing that I do notice. Like, we had a German Shepherd that we didn't see until it was almost too late, and we worked on that, did a lot, got it off all its drugs, and it was comfortable and interacted with the family the whole, the last year of its life. But man, we had trouble getting it on a good diet. That was probably the hardest part. And now they took about 6-month hiatus with no pets. And then they bought a new puppy, raw food, regular chiropractic, no vaccinations.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like, yes. So, they were listening.
Right. Yeah. And yeah.
So, no matter if you're listening, owners, it's never too late to start with the animals that you have. You can still put money, in that account, still put vitality in that account. It may not grow as big as if you had started when they were, puppies, but you can still, it's never too late.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wish that everybody would get adjusted. I mean, people and animals.
Right.
Because it's just so much easier to cope with stress.
That's right.
And everybody has stress. So we talked about your wins. We talked about what your biggest wins were with your pets. There's a lot of people out there that are listening that are like, oh, I don't know about animal chiropractic. Why should I add it to my practice? Or I'll do it soon. What would, that's our biggest one. Yep, I'm going to add animal chiropractic soon. What do you have to say to those people?
As my 4-year-old would say, what is soon, mommy? Man, you just got to do it. I mean, so when I started, it took me all of my childbearing years to get through the program. Like, so the first time I went out to Texas, I was pregnant with my first kid. And then the second time, I think I was pregnant with my second kid. And then the third time I was pregnant. Third time I brought my second kid. And then for the ABCA exam, I was pregnant with my third kid. So like, if I can do it, lugging all those babies around in my body, like, you can do it. And, picking the right program, I think, is super crucial. ACES is an amazing program. And one of the perks is that a lot of it's online. That's not the only reason I think it's a really good program, but it sure does help if you're already working and you already got to provide and all that kind of stuff. And then the weekends in Texas just really cement that in. I was adjusting pets after just the first weekend in Texas. I was already making money on this program that I bought. And I'll tell you, before I went to the third weekend, I had paid off my tuition to ACES from chiropractic adjustments. Not everything else that I do, but just the chiropractic. So it's such a good profit builder, which we're not doing it just for the money, but if you're building profit, you have more time to spend with your family. That's really what it came down to for me. is that if I can make more money in the same amount of hours helping more pets, then I have more time to spend with my family. And that's what chiropractic has allowed me to do. And I don't need to advertise. I don't pay anything for advertising. It's all word of mouth, because clients know quality when they see it, and they know what helps their pet when they see it. And so once you got a few that find out what you're doing, it's going to take off. And you're going to be helping more pets. You're going to be really, truly helping them, not just band-aiding symptoms. And it's going to help your bottom line too, which is going to help your quality of life. So you can go out and then do the things that you want to accomplish with your life, not just be slogging away working all day.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
All right.
Get after it.
You know, one of the things that helps give us quality of life, how many emergencies do your clients have?
Oh, not very many true ones. I have a few. They're like, oh, my dog, has diarrhea or something. But here's the cool thing, and this is probably part of just what I do in general, is part of my mission statement is to empower my clients to be a part of their pet's health journey. And so a lot of my clients have learned if their pet has diarrhea, they try to get them adjusted with me when they can, and then they start some nutritional things to help deal with that.
Yeah.
Or they start an herbal thing, and those are things that I've taught them. And so more often than not, I have clients who contact me after the weekend's over, say, hey, Buster had some diarrhea, but I started lactic acid yeast and everything's cool now. Can we get in for an adjustment? And they kind of handle it themselves. And I love that. I don't want to be the person that they feel like they have to depend on. They should be able to make good quality medical decisions for their pet for the most part, just common sense stuff. So I don't have a ton, hardly any, I would say, really.
Yeah. And it's always when I know that one of our clients is truly there is when, like, we have a couple of the people that are clients, and they work for the rescue in the county.
Mm-hmm.
And twice now we've had, when they were working, we've had a text, and they're like, so we got a hit by car dog. Should we bring it to you or go to the traditional vet? Well, and sometimes it's like, send me a video, send me whatever. And there's no wounds. The dog seems to be okay. We'll bring him here. Let's see. Right? But when you get that same thing and there's a big sliced open gash, it's like, you know what? That's a little more than chiropractic.
Let's triage a little bit first, and then
go get that sewed up, and then you come by.
That's right.
So, and that's when I know when they called, and it's like, that's so cool that they called, and I don't mind them calling, so that I can send them to the traditional veterinarian and say, hey, that's more than I want to deal with today. So.
That's right. Yeah.
And we had one with a broken pelvis, and they brought it in on a day we had class. They brought it in and they said, this one just came in, what do you think? And so we adjusted the atlas. All right, the dog looked brighter and alert, wasn't shocky. And we said, it's not an emergency. The dog had good color, we did all those things, was doing well. So take it on Monday. And, that was just a big, for them, it saved them time and money. We were here, so it wasn't an emergency on our part. And everything was a lot better because they, I have my chiropractor has a sign in his lobby that says, adjust first, drug second, surgery third.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
So anyway,
Anything else you'd like to say or touch on? Or
I would just say, if you are doing chiropractic, don't forget the importance of the diet with it too. If you have a dog that's on really bad food, they're gonna need a lot more adjusting, and they might not hang in for that. But if you can get them on a really good food, I think that's another crucial part of those adjustments sticking around for longer. So yeah, just don't forget the food.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, thank you so much. Everybody out there listening, make sure that all the atlases in your house are adjusted so that the body can heal from above down inside. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.